lovingly admiring pictures of Paddington Bear and Catherine, Princess of Wales, Prince William, that stallion. Catherine's in this gorgeous green gown, looks absolutely stunning, unreal. We're interrupted by Harper's Bazaar. We're interrupted by Netflix. In comes Meghan with the assault yet again. Shocker.
So, yet another Meghan Markle interview hits the press. And honestly, it's more the same. A lot of words, a lot of photos, and, as always, almost zero substance. I mean, you have to hand it to her PR team. They know how to make a cover shoot look important. But if you're actually hoping to get anything meaningful about Meghan, Harry, or their plans. Nope, not here. Let's unpack this mess. The latest piece is from Harper's Bazaar, and the headline screams Meghan's moment.
But Harper's Bazaar, the headline is Meghan's moment. But if you go to share the article, I think it's interesting because the title is Meghan Markle on business and family life with Prince Harry, Archie, and Lilibet. Countdown to Meghan's team demanding that they change that to Meghan Sussex. But right off the top, I want to give you just some of my general thoughts on the piece. Meghan is still a victim. I mean, they immediately try the author when she takes a break from like physically kissing her butt, she wants the reader to sympathize with Meghan Markle, and you get that right off the top. The author fails to mention Meghan's termination from Spotify, but includes the initial deal as an example of Meghan's success story. She fails to mention the negative response from season one of With Love, Meghan. She fails to mention the total irrelevance of season two. She fails to promote Meghan's Christmas special. She fails to inquire about Meghan's future with Netflix and ask any tough questions about that. Fails to mention Meghan's estrangement from her family or Prince Harry's family. This piece makes the same mistake as everything they seem to do lately. No bigger objective, higher purpose. Meghan just wants attention. She just wants attention. She just wants to have her photo taken. She wants to be on the cover of magazines with no substance. To quote Oprah, silence or silenced. It's been 5 years and Meghan has yet to say anything of any value, whatever, whether she's talking to Spotify, whether she's talking to Lemonada, whether she's talking to The Cut, whether she's talking to Harper's Bazaar. She has nothing of value, whether she's talking to Bloomberg. She's not giving us anything meaningful. I'm just like, why are you here? What are you doing? Also, I kid you not, she stops mid-interview to take a photo of her own face in cappuccino foam. So just, put your seatbelt on and get ready for a wild ride. Here are some of the newsworthy bites that I pulled. Through Megxit, they say Meghan lost her agency and her humanity. Get out of here. Those are one of the lines where I was like, still a victim. We're still trying to monetize our victimhood over here in Montecito. Meghan has acquired a level of fame that is irrevocable. The question becomes, what does one woman do with that amount of power and tricky sort of influence? The freaking answer is jam. I mean, like the audacity to write a line like that and know what she's done with this alleged power and influence this author says she has. She's selling loose fruit spread. Get out of here. She's not curing cancer. I mean, so influential. Get a life, lady. All right. After years of others attempting to fit her into their narratives, she is now pursuing a life and a career that feel authentic to her and her alone, and allowing herself to enjoy it too. Authentic. I lost count of how many times they use that word throughout this article. If you have to continuously shove the word authentic down our throats, it's not very authentic. Feels like you're trying a little too hard, Team Meghan. Meghan has a whispered conference with a famous film titan at the Beverly Hills Polo Lounge. Get out. Like, again, if you have to talk about it, it's probably not going anywhere. I thought that was just so try hard, giving a lot of pick me energy right there. She wrote a letter to Procter and Gamble to protest gender stereotypes in the company's advertising. Would it be a Meghan Markle article without the freaking soap story, ladies and gentlemen? The soap story that Vanity Fair refused to run because they could not confirm it, right? The soap story that Tom Bauer says didn't happen, but Meghan's going to shove that damn soap story right into our brains. She's going to force it on us.
Cute. But the original title supposedly tried to frame it as a look at her family life and business ventures with Harry, Archie, and Lilibet. Of course, Meghan's team swoops in to tweak that to Meghan Sussex. Classic. Every headline has to scream ME, right? Already, you can tell this is less about journalism and more about image management. The article is a masterclass in PR spin. It's a reminder that Meghan's brand is now self-contained, self-perpetuating, and largely untouchable by traditional scrutiny. The problem? It's exhausting to follow because there's almost zero real content.
The soap story. I mean, this has to become a drinking game, okay? And I don't drink, but if I did, I'd be tore up from the floor up by playing the Procter and Gamble soap story drinking game. When I broach the topic and ask Meghan what she's learned from her mistakes, she deadpans, "You learn not to do it again. Thanks. Thank you, Sherlock." Before clarifying, if it all goes swimmingly, you don't learn from it. If you don't learn anything, you're not going to grow. I mean, but it does sound like she hated that question. So I do momentarily appreciate that.
You get quotes about dough, courage, and authenticity, but nothing about real-world impact, challenges, or lessons learned. The narrative is all surface, no depth, all shimmer, no substance. And yet, this is what modern celebrity journalism has become: lavish spreads, PR-friendly profiles, an endless repetition of vague, feel-good phrases.
Here's one quote that they blown up in the article. "There's no such thing as perfect. I too get to make mistakes. There's also not a lot of fun in trying to be perfect. So why try to do that if you want to have fun?" This is the same woman that wears white while making spaghetti, okay? Like her one skillet spaghetti. Like, I'm sorry if I don't believe that she is not in the pursuit of perfection when she's wearing white in the kitchen with all sorts of Italian sauces, okay? But she has permission to make mistakes. Go for it. But if you are going to spend the first few years of your life in the United States trying to humble other people and trying to put other people in their place, or trying to call other people out for what you deem inappropriate behavior, the British royal family Oprah Winfrey interview, then get ready for people to hold you accountable too. Sorry, not sorry. Another quote from Meghan: "I think the moment that you start making all of your personal decisions based on your external judgment, then you lose your authenticity." There's another A word coming from the A word. There's another A word. Oh, here's a classic Meghanism: "If you overwork the dough, it's not going to rise." Silence or silence. That's what we get from this woman. If you overwork the dough, it's not going to rise. Oh, thank God. Thank God Meghan was freed from the British royal family and the jail bars, the duct tape over her mouth in the British royal family, so she could say things that are so meaningful, like, "If you overwork the dough, it's not going to rise." The author says, "When I ask Meghan what she hopes her kids see when they see her working, she tells me, I hope they see the value of being brave." Because jam is so brave. Because loose fruit spread is the kind of courage that we should all aspire for. I hope they see the value of being brave. They say it, or they saw it when the jam was just a pot on the stove bubbling. When you're young, she adds, I think you are a little bit more fearless. As we get older, we lose some of that. Another genius moment from Meghan Markle. Wow, I've never thought about how we're fearless when we're young, and as we get older, we start to understand consequences. Except this woman does not understand consequences. Let's be honest. She has yet to master that. Oh my gosh, I cannot even believe this is coming out of my mouth. And this was one of the favorites between me and my royal besties as we were WhatsApping this interview. We're in a grand brownstone on the Upper East Side that belongs to one of Meghan's friends. When I enter, the house manager announces, "Meghan, Duchess of Sussex," even though we appear to be the only other two people. in the house. Oh my God. Crickets, crickets at what an idiot you look like, woman. And this entire article, she's totally kissing Meghan's butt. But if I were Meghan's team, I'd hate that this was left in. If I were Meghan's team, I'd be like, we should have asked that that be removed. I don't know if they have that kind of power. It felt like they had that kind of power throughout the majority of the interview because there's so much butt kissing, but that is one of the worst representations of Meghan throughout the article. Um, Another quote from Meghan: you find different ways to protect yourself, whether that's self preservation or it's just growing up. I don't know what that means. Uh, she puts her hand on her heart when she talks about her husband. He loves me so boldly, fully. And he also has a different perspective because he sees media that I wouldn't, she says. No one in the world loves me more than him. So I know he's always going to make sure that he has my back. If somebody asked me about my significant other, I feel like my reaction organically would be like, I love him so much. I love him so much. He gave up his family for me. He gave up his life for me. He gave up his responsibilities and reason for living for me. And now he's basically a pay for play royal at a Toronto Hilton. Like, but no, he loves me so much. He loves me so much. I asked Scott Rouse about this and he replied, clinical narcissist. So that's one expert opinion that I trust. With Harry, Meghan explains, you have someone who just has this childlike wonder and playfulness. Yeah, it's called immaturity. It's called learning how to pay your phone bill just 5 years ago, not owning a couch until 5 years ago. Um,
For Meghan, it's a perfect ecosystem. Fans see a polished, aspirational figure. Critics see little evidence of accountability. And the media can pretend they delivered a story while carefully avoiding the uncomfortable truths. So, yeah, that's a takeaway. More words, more pictures, more curated moments. And the same old Meghan Markle story.
I was so drawn to that, and he brought that out in me. You were so drawn to it because you were like divorced at least once by the time you met him. You'd had a hard life, girlfriend, and he had no responsibilities or understanding of how to be a grown up. I'm sure that that was adorable. I'm sure that that was really attractive. That's translated in every part of our life, even in business. I want us to play and have fun and explore and be creative with loose fruit spread. I don't want to hear how they're creative with loose fruit spread. This is a family channel. I don't want to know what they're doing with the loose fruit spread that's creative. Okay. I don't want to know. Rewriting her childhood history yet again. Meghan claims that she would request to have a Subway sandwich like the ones she'd seen in commercials. So her mom would make her just a plain deli sandwich. So now the $5 salad bar at the $4.99 salad bar at Sizzler. I guess between her dad taking her to those dance lessons in Beverly Hills with the expensive club sandwiches at the little deli they'd go to there, Meghan is now trying to be relatable with a Subway shout out. So that's adorable. Rewriting history yet again. She says her grandmother, whose family came from Tennessee, had a garden where Meghan helped pick greens and make preserves. I feel like that's a story that you would have told when at the Time 100 event when you were in the same room as Blake Lively, and you guys were and you were asked by Time about your relationship with Netflix and how With Love Megan started. At that point in time, she claims that it was Netflix's idea. At Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit, she then takes credit for it. But this grandmother and the preserves thing, that should have come out last year. That should have come out earlier this year in preparation for With Love Megan. So we might have bought this whole project a little bit more instead of it just looking like a vanity project. Megan and fake friends in the kitchen for the first time together, and a bunch of camera dudes. I don't believe this story for a second. I didn't read this story in Andrew Morton's book about Meghan. I didn't read this story in Tom Bower's Revenge. I don't believe that this story at all. I think it's completely made up and I think she's lying. That's my personal opinion. As she describes it, it was a childhood with close ties, no mention of her frickin' father. Hello, Thomas Markle. We see you. Um, though she says her parenting style is very different from her mother's, she has made it a study using books and apps, a diligence that has made her an authority within her friend circle. Meghan Markle is always the smartest, the prettiest, the best. She's always number one. But if, in case you're doubting this, we have a quote from Serena Williams. Okay. So just check yourself before you wreck yourself. Serena Williams says she's just so smart. And I feel like no matter what, I can always learn from her.
She's a celebrity at the peak of her brand power. But beyond the photos and the sound bites, there's almost nothing of substance. If you're looking for insight into her life, her decisions, or her impact, you're out of luck. If you want a masterclass in image crafting and celebrity PR, this article nails it. Jam, cappuccinos, and all. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.